wellness communities, these medicines are increasingly being discussed online, often as quick fixes for rapid weight loss. And that is precisely why India's drug regulator, the CDSCO, has now stepped in. The government has issued a nationwide advisory reminding pharmaceutical companies that prescription medicines cannot be advertised to the general public, not directly, not indirectly, and not through influencers, celebrity endorsements, or cleverly disguised awareness campaigns. Now, the message is clear as well. Medicines that require a doctor's prescription cannot be marketed like lifestyle products out there, especially on social media. Authorities say they're especially concerned about campaigns that create excitement around these drugs without adequately explaining who should actually take them, what the risks are, or the need for medical supervision. Because while GLP-1 medicines have shown remarkable results for many patients, they are still prescription drugs and medicines. They're not cosmetic products. They're not wellness supplements, and certainly not social media trends out there. The advisory also warns companies against exaggerated claims, guaranteed weight loss promises, influencer collaborations that create brand recall, or marketing strategies that blur the line between awareness and advertising. The concern is simple. If prescription drugs start getting promoted like fashion or fitness products, people may begin self-medicating without really understanding the risks. Doctors continue to emphasize that obesity is a chronic medical condition. Medicines may help selected patients, but they are only one part of the treatment. Healthy eating, regular physical activity, behavioral changes remain the foundation of long-term weight management. So where do we draw that line when half of our lives is on social media, we're doom scrolling the entire day, and comes a product which you're so attracted to? Should India completely prohibit any public messaging around these medicines, or do patients also have a right to know that new treatment options really exist? And there's a balance that has to be struck there. Can awareness coexist with responsible regulation? To decode that, Dr. Geetika Chopra, nutritionist, with us on the broadcast, and Dr. O.P. Yadav, CEO, National Heart Institute. Beg your pardon, doctor. Many thanks for taking out the time. You see, Dr. Chopra, first and foremost, what's your take on this with the drug regulator now coming in? GLP drugs, they genuinely represent a medical breakthrough. There's no denying that. We've seen success stories out on social media as well, which is why people want to try their hand at it. But are people beginning to see them as cosmetic weight loss, as your one shot to success? And that's where the actual dangers and problem lie.
That's absolutely true. People want to go for shortcuts for weight loss, but they're actually not able to understand that they are effective only till the time they are being taken. Once you leave them, the weight is going to bounce back. The appetite, which is being artificially controlled, the fullness, which was given artificially by these injections, will go, and then you will maybe gain double of what you were earlier. So instead of that, because when you're taking a GLP-1 injection, with that you have to do exercise also, you have to follow a diet also. So those things have to be followed. So instead of going for a shortcut, you can go for this as a lifestyle change. So that will be better.
In terms of all your patients, people, I understand there is some confidentiality that you have to maintain. Nobody is asking you to out your patients here, but do you see that we're becoming a society that's looking for shortcuts instead of sustainable lifestyle? And how many times do you come across a patient that's asking you to, recommend a GLP-1 or a shortcut to them?
Okay. The patient I have, they are like, it's around 40 to 60% ratio. 60% people have already realized it, that it's a shortcut and they don't want to go for it. But I think 40% still has to know the side effects of it. So I'm really happy that we took out this topic.
Okay. Dr. Yadav, who actually qualifies for these drugs? And whilst you're at it, help us understand what kind of side effects does it have, especially on the cardiovascular functioning?
Okay, thanks for having me. See, very specifically, it has been documented that these should not be used for cosmetic weight loss. These have to be used for people with morbid obesity, and they must have an additional comorbidity attached to it, like an obstructive sleep apnea, which in common man's language is snoring, or you have liver cirrhosis, which nowadays we call it as metabolic disease associated steatotic hepatitis. So forget about the name, but liver fibrosis or cirrhosis. So if you have these kind of associated ailments and then you have morbid obesity, and if you happen to be a diabetic, then sure enough, there is a very strong indication for use of these drugs, but not self-medication for losing cosmetic inches.
Okay, and what are the biggest risks here, doctor, especially for the cardiovascular setup? What are some of the dangerous side effects? Let's educate the viewers. No need to strike panic, but let's tell them the dangers as well.
Well, whenever we start the drug, the commonest side effect is related to the gut itself. You may get nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Some people may even get constipation and those kind of symptoms. Those are relatively minor. But the serious ones could be that you may get intestinal obstruction. Perforations have been reported. We have reported cancers in thyroid and pancreas, inflammation of the pancreas, gallstones. So there are a number of these kind of things. And for the young people who are using it, there is interference in the collagen metabolism. So you start looking more aged than your actual ages. So when you are losing weight, you look more beautiful and young and zappy or whatever, you can develop wrinkles and start looking more aged.
All right. Dr. Chopra, since you're a clinical nutritionist here, medicines, can they ever replace healthy eating, exercise, and really lifestyle discipline when it comes to long-term weight management? Just like the doctor said, it's for those that have obesity, morbid obesity with comorbidities. And that's a separate and I think a small demography out there. A lot of us should actually look at the treadmill rather than the injection.
True, true. And I totally agree to our senior doctor, and adding to the point that when these injections are taken, basically what is happening is the muscle mass is dropping. But when we do a healthy lifestyle and a healthy diet is taken, we try to increase the muscle mass. So this is the biggest difference, because we know with age the muscle mass has to drop. So with the biggest loss has to be surfaced with a good diet, and diet has no alternative. And what is exactly GLP? It's a natural hormone which can be released in the body through diet as well. So if you include high protein diet in every meal, if you include polyphenols like green tea and in every meal, berries in every meal, if you include barleys, oats like soluble fiber, psyllium husk, so all these will be triggering good bacteria, and all this will actually help to increase the GLP, which will actually regulate the GLP hormone in the body. What is GLP doing? GLP is actually suppressing the hunger. So that can be naturally done with a good diet.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. I think it's the problem of society. We need everything so fast. We need everything, on our instant applications. And the same happens with weight loss over here as well. There is a marketing side to all of this, isn't it, doctor? Because one has to ask, where does the regulator, Dr. Yadav, draw that line between educating people out there about the new medicines that are on the market and preventing pharmaceutical marketing? Because the pharmaceutical companies, they also need to make their money. There are lobbyists out there. They're trying to make the big bucks for themselves. And I think it's on the drug regulator then to draw that line. And where do we draw that fine line?
Well, obviously, this is very intuitive that the fine line has to be drawn both ways. It has to be drawn by the users as well as the one who are selling these products. In fact, I would put bigger onus not on the regulators and the marketing companies. It is the public which has to take its health in its own hand. They have to educate themselves that these drugs they are very potent, very good when rightly used, but they are not the end of every single issue associated with obesity. In fact, obesity, most important, needs behavioral change that we seem to ignore totally. It is not just pharmaceutical treatment or drugs or food or exercise. It is the behavior which has to change.
Yeah.
And that is what will change the attitudes.
You know, I have final questions for both of you. Dr. Chopra, do you think influencers out there and so much of social media trends and campaigns, influencer transformations, they create this unhealthy pressure, especially on the youngsters out there, and they're to be blamed for this as well?
I absolutely agree with you. And actually, what is shown on the screens on Instagram is not true. Let me give my audience a very good takeaway. Let us make a nice GLP producing thali. Okay. So before, whenever, like suppose we are sitting for a lunch. Okay. What we can do is we can take a glass of water with isabgol, that's physalim husk.
Yeah.
Then in your meal, I will advise you to take high protein, which can be dal, which can be chicken, which can be fish, which can be lentils. With that, we can have maybe oats porridge, or we can have barley dalia. With that,
Yeah.
we can have Greek yogurt. On Greek yogurt, just sprinkle chia seeds or flax seeds, and along with it, we can add little keep few berries. So when you have this meal, and after that, maybe you can have green tea. So when you take this composition with this, if you sleep well, and you are getting your blood reports done regularly, you're checking your vitamin D, B12, your calcium, zinc, and magnesium levels, you're keeping your cortisol down under control, you're hydrating yourself well. When you're keeping all these parameters up to the mark, I think you'll be automatically losing your waistline like anything. You don't need these injections
Yeah.
and these things at all. And I promise you for this.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying the weight loss actually happens in the kitchen more than the gym, and I think that's very well said. Final 30, 40 seconds to you, Dr. Yadav, before I close this segment. You see, what worries you more? Is it the drug itself, or is it the culture that is surrounding these shortcut drugs? If someone genuinely wants to lose weight today, what's your takeaway for them?
Well, drugs are great. They are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, for a person who actually needs it, a BMI of 40 with sleep apnea and, those kind of issues, it is an amrit for them.
A lifesaver.
It
Yes.
is, as you rightly said, the kind of misuse of a good thing. It is abuse of a good thing which is worrying me.
Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it at that particular point. Many thanks, Dr. Chopra. Many thanks, Dr. Yadav, once again for taking out the time, speaking to us here on News 9. This is an important, subject to look at constantly. Weight loss medicines, they may be changing modern healthcare, but they are not lifestyle products. Don't fool yourselves out there. As regulators tighten the rules, the bigger message is medical advice should never be replaced by the marketing hype out there. And whatever you want to do, it has to begin in the kitchen out there. With that, that's the food for thought we're going to leave you with. Many thanks for watching In Your Interest. We're going to catch you again tomorrow. Many thanks for watching.
A single street in Belfast, sudden act of violence, and within hours, a city was put into chaos. What began as a stabbing has now ignited nights of unrest across Northern Ireland.